Death Metal Podcast. Death Metal Podcast is live. Death Metal Podcast live. This is the Rhode Island Death Metal special. This was released a while ago, but it didn't get aired. It was long, and then it was something happened with it. It was super long, and there was members of many Rhode Island bands in it, and then at the very end, like we buck wild out, and it didn't get aired. So I took one of the parts of it, and I split it into what's up, John Grave? I've split it into portions. So we're probably gonna play this as like 3 parts. You know what I mean? So this will be part 1. It's long. I'm probably not going to be answering to the comments. So this is just going to be like something we play live. But if I am available, I'll pull up some of the comments. But we'll see what's up. So this is a special edition. I announced it last Saturday. The Death Metal Podcast Rhode Island Death Metal Edition, Part 1. I appreciate everyone that tunes in normally. And now I just got to find the video. We never played this in its entirety ever. Just when it was live, I think. So it's been quite a minute since I've even explored what's in here. It's informative, I have to say. There's a lot of very informative Rhode Island death metal stuff. So, people talking about the scene back in the day, and some of the bands are current, some of the bands are deceased now. But this was a thriving scene. If I could find the friggin' video, it would be helpful. Let's see here. Unless I put it up in its thing. So yeah, I went on earlier too. Would be helpful to find my own video. Okay, here it is. So again, this was shown just once and then taken down. I split it into 3 pieces. There's a lot of informative death metal stuff in here. So this is going to go on for a long time. Enjoy. They had What's up, everybody? Fucking Death Metal Podcast coming at you from New York and Rhode Island tonight. Got a lot of special guests. Rhode Island death metal scene, it was and is super popping. When I was younger, a long time ago, I used to go up to Rhode Island all the time because they had death metal festivals going on there. They had a bunch of bands that were super into it. A bunch of snarky bastards that were very similar to me. I kind of doing this like a death metal podcast with a co-host tonight from Rhode Island, from a pretty well-known band from back in the day. He's not in the band right at the moment, but I'm sure he has no problem talking about the band. Play some rare stuff tonight on the show, and there's going to be mad freaky guests. There's even some guests that might show up, might not. I'm not sure what the deal is, but I know some of the people checked in with me yesterday. It's going to be pretty sick. So bringing on to the stage a drummer. Now you could see the drummer, because when you go to a show you can't even see the drummer. But here he is, Andy Jones.
Now you know why I hid behind the drums. I'm an ugly bastard.
Was from Phlegm.
Right. What's up, Brian?
I want to say Andy from Phlegm, but it's like you're not really Andy from Phlegm,
I was in 1992. Does that matter? We can.
Yeah, that's cool enough. That's good enough. That's good enough, brother.
What's going on?
Right,
man? How you doing?
So
I'm doing well, bro. Just chilling. Hanging out with my cool AC shirt on tonight for this
Yep.
special Rhode Island edition.
Even though they're from Massachusetts, but they still
Yeah,
count.
exactly. Well, were there ever any members from Rhode Island and AC? There was.
Yeah, Freddie from Phlegm.
Freddie from Phlegm.
On
Other
on
guys
that
too,
tour with
no?
Incantation and AC. Freddie played. He played with us and played with AC the entire time.
Cool. Yeah. So for Death Metal Podcasts, just so people know, let me turn off some of this friggin' bull crap. Basically, I basically did have an idea, and then Andy approached me this week or past. So, I had an idea that I was going to hit up different scenes, different death metal scenes in the United States, foreign countries, because I know people from different towns and different states and different, from Providence, Rhode Island. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people from Cleveland, Ohio. I know a lot of people in Florida. I know a lot of people in Texas, California, Washington State. Like there's all death metal scenes going on. There's a death metal scene going on in North Dakota right now, bro. First time I've seen that in a long time. What do you think about North Dakota death metal, Andy?
First of all, where's North Dakota? That's like above Sturgis, right? Isn't that South Dakota?
I have no clue.
That's
man.
way the fuck
I'm
up
from
there.
America, but I haven't looked at the map in a while. So tonight, though, I'm going to be bringing a lot of rare music. Sometimes everything I do on here on Death Metal Podcast is pretty much trial by fire. I don't, if it's not too polished or it gets messed up or whatever, I don't care. Just let me know maybe in the chat if there's no sound or something stupid that I did. It's kind of difficult to prepare for some of these shows because when you're digging into your own personal tape collection and stuff and an image collection, I mean, I have a lot of stuff basically. So
Yeah,
it's
do.
like really, and then you got to turn them into a certain format. Yeah. So anyway, without further ado, I see. Okay. You think overall, bro?
I got my speakers cranked.
All right, so I'm going to come up a little bit on my piece right here. Let's see here. We're going to just touch the audio a little bit here. How we doing now? A little bit better?
Definitely.
All right, cool. Trial by Fire, Death Metal Podcast. That's what's up. On Instagram, too. So if you are on Instagram, which I know you all are, even if you're a lurker with some weird name, check us out and like the Instagram page. I post the show announcements on there, etc. So for Rhode Island, I gotta ask you, brother, going back in death metal history, right? Who do you think was the first Rhode Island death metal band?
Jesus Christ, I don't know. I'm thinking back to like Monsters of Shit, the Monsters of Shit days in the 80s, and I know Phlegm was there. So, I mean, going back in the late 80s, early 90s, obviously it was, Phlegm, Vital Remains, Headrot, Procreation, Morbid Reality. There was a ton of bands, but I wasn't in the scene.
What do you think the first one is, though? The first one.
The first one, if I had to pick the first one?
Yeah, if you had to pick.
I'd go with Phlegm.
Phlegm, yeah. I mean, I would either go with. I'm sure. I don't know if at the Monsters of Shit Part 1, I know Phlegm played that, right?
Yep.
So with there was some other band members from like Vital Remains or something, and they played this show too, didn't they?
Yeah, Ace Alonso, the drummer for I don't know if he was the original drummer, but he played in Vital Remains for a long time. He had another band, like a thrash band that played. So there wasn't quite Vital Remains yet. I don't know what Jeff and Tony were doing at the time. What was the name? Dialysis or something? I think that was the name of Ace's band.
Yeah. So they weren't death metal though, right? They were thrash?
No, they were thrash. But gotcha. I don't know. You know,
Yeah, and
Tom
you
would be
wouldn't
better suited
consider
for that question.
Postmortem or Executioner as death metal bands, obviously, right? They were more
No,
like
not
thrash
really.
bands, right?
Right. Yeah, Tom and Fred would be more suited for that question.
Yeah.
They were there. I was still rocking out to Rat with my Motley Crue half shirt.
Got you. You see,
Yeah.
with your half shirt. Okay. That's pretty funny. Well, I mean, Euronymous wore a half shirt and everyone respects him. So I guess, yeah, whatever's, you know? I think he wears his own band's half shirt, if I'm not mistaken, but
Yeah,
maybe
quite
not.
possibly.
Maybe it was a Venom one. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So what's up to everybody? Anyone that's out there, if you want to say what's up in the chat so we know you're here. I know I would pretty much go on here and talk to myself if I had to, but we are streaming live on Facebook. I'm streaming live on YouTube. I'm streaming live on Twitch. And then I think we're streaming live on the Death Metal Podcast Facebook page, which has like 10 friends. But I'm good with that because everything, you know, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this to get free demos. I'm not doing this to get promotion for my record label. I'm not doing it for any of that, dude. I'm just doing this purely for the music scene and other fans of the music scene. So I'm sure probably most of you know that and know me and how I am or what I do. So yeah, I see a couple heads rolling into the chat. What's up, brother? How's Singapore? Venner, Bill Venner in the house. What's up, Evan? All right, we got another guest too from Rhode Island. Here we go.
Yo.
Hey.
How's it going, brother? I don't see anyone's names under this thing. That's weird.
What's happening?
God,
God, there it is. Good, man.
Yeah. I wonder why. I came in kind of weird tonight. I was changing this and that. I was coming in with mad technical difficulties. But it is what it is.
While you're on the toilet.
Yeah, I mean, I was eating a piece of chicken, basically, you know, like just trying to huff down a piece of chicken and huff down some hash real quick, send out a quick Facebook blast, you know, like it's pretty much same as normal, you know what I mean? So how you doing, Ray? You got audio, Ray?
Hey, man. Good, man. Did the same thing. I just got home. What's that?
You got good audio?
Hello.
Can you hear everybody? You're
twitching.
man.
The video's choppy.
Yeah, your video's a little choppy. What are you outside chopping down a tree?
Hold on, buddy. Hold on.
What's up, Carl?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Hold on.
All right, bro. You can pop out too and pop back in. All right. We're going to take him out for a minute. Rhode Island, that's how we go.
That's
we
how
do
we
it
roll.
how we do it.
Actually, I think he's in Massachusetts, so that explains it.
Okay. See, Rhode Island and Massachusetts, they got an intimate relationship too, right?
It's the same damn state for the most part. We're just
It's the goddamn same state.
Right. Is that
Massachusetts
better?
and Rhode Island. Yeah, that's a little better. Now you're not so choppy.
I can't even
You
see
just
him.
got to steal the other neighbor's internet, right? Instead of your own.
It's not. Is it better?
Just a little.
Roy, can you
I'll
see
let
him?
you know, though. I'll let you know. If it gets really bad, I'll let you know by kicking you out, basically. So you'll figure it out quick. So, yeah, anybody who's just tuning in, if you could just subscribe, all that baloney, and just tell your friends about this, basically, because other fiends need to see this show. We're probably going to talk about a lot of historical events, basically. Maybe show some bugged out historical, old death metal pictures and talk about cool
Prom
shows
pictures.
in the underground. Huh?
Prom pictures.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. I don't after my friend Francisco did his thing and we just stayed on there for epic amount of time. It was just, you would think that, okay, after we did that, we blew our potential, wad, like doing a full Phlegm
no.
interview,
No,
but
we could do
I
that
think
for a month.
there's a lot more to be talked about. You know what I mean? I know and hung around with Phlegm, obviously, and I know Skinny Ray's been around Phlegm a long time too, bro.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Jay Dyer saying, "What's up, Skinny?"
What's up, man? What's happening?
What's up,
Francisco checking in. Andy Jones. Best thrash in Massachusetts is Formicide.
Wow.
All right, hour 1 of 12.
Whoa,
Yeah.
you got Kitty ready for about an hour.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? You know what it was? There was a night where I had people I had people in Australia coming on at one time, and then I was on with someone from the U.S. and then they stayed on for a long time, and then next thing you know, I had my friend from Japan came on.
Yeah,
So there's a time difference.
12 hours straight or something like that.
Yeah,
10
we
hours,
did 10
right?
hours. Yeah, like a 10-hour friggin'
That is not
live
happening
stream.
tonight.
Nah. I don't even want to do a live stream for 10 hours.
10 minutes before one of us start taking a nap.
I don't even. Yeah, like I don't even know how that happened. Basically, we must have just whatever. Like maybe I was starting to set a Guinness Book World Record or something. All right, I see the names are at least up to. Again, anyone who has any friends, which I know nobody does, let your friends know that to check out the YouTube channel and
Derek's
check out.
Right, where's Tommy?
Yeah, we got a bunch of guests that are going to come on. Some are going to come on around 9. So yeah, they're going to try to drag me into like the 10-hour death metal
They're going to put
podcast.
the kids to sleep.
Yeah,
But you know what? I'm probably the only one who could actually do the 10-hour thing because the rest of you guys work like jobs. I have a job, but this is like, part of my job, death metal.
Nice.
Yeah, you work from home doing the t-shirts and stuff, too. T-shirts and records, bro.
Yeah, I still run a record label. I moved specifically to this home to do a record label full time. So
yeah,
I don't. When you work for yourself, I don't know if any of you guys do work for yourself or did. It's just like you actually work more than you work for somebody else or whatever,
Right.
You could be a lazy screwhead and just do nothing, but I'm sure you'd lose your house within the first 3 months.
How long have you been doing Necroharmonic?
I've been doing Necroharmonic for over 30 years, homie. But I've been doing it full time for about 17 years.
Yeah,
I know, man. You've been doing it a lot. You've been grinding that out for a long time, man.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh yeah, dude.
So listen, why don't we do this before we chit chat? Then we'll talk about what I'm going to play. I got some rare stuff I brought to the table tonight. So, and I think you probably never heard some of this. So, how about we check this out? Let me see here. I was trying to get that logo. Some crazy band's logo. You couldn't read it. It looks like one of those brutal death metal band logos of like, All right, so check this out, though. Here we go. Whoa, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
One more. All right. This was going to be the last song anyways. All right, this is our last one. It's going to be on the upcoming demo. It's called Reborn.
Come on, let's see you motherfuckers ring! Ah!
Yeah.
Oh.
Was that recorded from inside the kick drum?
Yeah. Is that
was you, right?
Yeah, was that the record from the Incantation show?
That's right.
Yeah, I have that video.
was you, right?
I have that whole video tape. You got that from Tommy.
I got the board tapes because I worked the Incantation merch that night.
Yeah.
So I used to carry around blank tapes with me. Andy knows. So basically, I used to record shows with like a little Walkman thing with a little microphone on it.
It's funny because I have that whole day on video too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got
That's
that.
cool.
Yeah, I got the day that. That's why when you put out that the CD, I was like, I have this video, man.
Yeah. Well, I put the live of the Phlegm on one CD.
Yep.
And then the Incantation, the live on that, the live rotting CD we put out. That's the same show too.
So many years ago. What was that? Was that 90, right?
91.
91, yeah.
Yeah. And for me, probably one of the first times I went to Rhode Island. I can't remember if that was the second show that I went. Well, I would say maybe the first for Rhode Island because the night before, it was Phlegm, Moral Decay, and Incantation played in New Bedford.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one.
Yeah, so we went, and I think that was before the show in Rhode Island, if I'm not mistaken.
That wasn't what Impetigo played, was it?
No, this was like in 91. So Impetigo played in 92.
Yeah, this was like,
I was there and I don't remember.
I know. I feel the same way about some of that show, like some of those fleets, fests of freaks. I look at the friggin' shows. I'm like, damn, I don't even remember that.
kind of talking or in the chat. You were saying something about Mike, the Mike Brown barn, and we went there. This was an afternoon show, that 91 show. And right after the show, we all ended up partying at Mike Brown's house later on that day.
Oh, that's where I knew it from. Okay. I thought it was the night after the Moral Decay show.
Nah, because that 91 show was an afternoon show. And right after the show, everybody jumped in their cars and just went back to Mike's house, man. And it got fucking crazy. I remember.
Yeah. So listen, this is what I got a few questions to ask you. So you were playing in that band. That was Procreation.
Yeah, Procreation.
So Andy sent me a photo of your demo cover, and this is it. And I have to say, what's up with that logo, homie? Because you got a brutal death metal logo.
Yeah.
Back 30 years ago.
Yep. So that was a Keith Ellenwood special. Like back in the day, we all used him to do all our stuff, and we would make it the craziest you could fucking make it. And he was a 16-year-old kid. He was younger than most of us. I was 17 in that band. 17, just going on 18. He was like 16. And then he would just he was an amazing artist. He still is, from what I understand. But I haven't
talented as fuck.
What's that?
Talented as fuck.
Yeah, I really haven't seen him in probably 25, 30 years.
Right.
But when he was doing that stuff, he'd kill it, man. Like, you'd be like, oh, can you make me a logo? And like 20 minutes later, he'd literally shit that out, man.
That logo is undecipherable in a way, which is that's what they do nowadays. So you guys were way ahead of your time.
I was in another band after Procreation called Rancid Christ, and the original Rancid Christ logo, man, we had to actually add some. And Keith Ellenwood did that one too, and we had to be like, oh, can you at least darken the letters, because it literally looked like a bush. Any leaves on it. We're like, well, you got to at least make the letters a little bit darker, and we did, so we could decipher it. I used to have stickers and everything. I can't find anything anymore because I just moved to my house like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, and I haven't unpacked everything.
I think I still have that demo somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Talk to me about Procreation and who was in it and all that stuff, because I don't know too much. The only thing I know about, literally, is that live tape in my collection.
So Procreation was a bunch of us kids. So there was a bunch of us that came from Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and then there was a couple dudes that came from Johnson, Danny Sorrow. It was like the Silver Lake area, Johnson, Providence. Like Danny Sorrow and Justin Draper. They came from like the Silver Lake, North Providence area. Me, Ron Goff, and Rick McCaffrey, we had come from the Pawtucket area, and we just kind of honestly, we met these kids through going to shows. When everybody just started really going to shows, and we started getting into heavier music. We wanted to play death metal, and I forgot the band that Danny and Justin were in. They were in another band, but I can't remember the name. But me and Rick. And we were coming out of a band called Morbid Reality. That was my very first band ever. Like when I was 15, 16 years old. Andy, that's when I met Andy.
Yeah.
And then
was that a thrash band? That was a thrash band, pretty much.
We wanted to be a death metal band because we had just started discovering death metal. So, but I mean, it was probably more thrashy at the time.
Yeah, me and Andy, when we first came on, we were also saying, who's the first death metal band from Rhode Island? Who do you think?
Oh, man, from Rhode Island.
Right? Tough question.
That is a tough question, man. I mean, like pure death metal, or like just kind of like the ground, like, because Phlegm was doing it like in '88, but I don't know if they were doing death metal. It was more noise, kind of like AC type shit.
Yeah.
But like, probably for pure like death metal, I would probably say Vital Remains.
Vital Remains. All right, we got another guest. Andy's pissed because he didn't drink. So anyway, we got another guest. It's Jim Fleet.
Definitely doing like that grindy shit in Rhode Island before. Like they were definitely doing that crazy shit before anybody else, man.
Yeah, and they were kind of death metal-y. Phlegm,
Yeah.
I thought they were. You know, I mean, they had grind parts, but yeah, your
Well,
Vital Remains.
The earlier Phlegm, like the real '88 shit, like when it was like
Like Satan's Rectum and Close Hanger Abortion.
Yeah, those were
Yeah.
noisy.
It wasn't like real structured like death metal. It was more noise and
No.
just like
noise, man.
goofy.
And then Vital, when did Vital come out? 89?
89 or so.
Yeah.
89. I mean, their first demo, Reduced to Ashes, was, you could tell they were starting, like they were in a death metal vein, but they, you know, they had some older songs that kind of thrashy, and like Excruciating Pain come out. That was when like Tony had really taken over the writing, and it was like, you know, it was a death metal band at that point.
Yeah, and they had really nice demos. I remember because my friend Bill, he was playing an Incantation at the time, and there was a show at the Church House Inn or something. It was with like Mortician and Incantation and Vital and stuff,
like the pre-Fleet Fest type things.
Right. And then I copped the Vital Remains tape there, and I was like, wow, man, this thing is friggin' pro. Because you know how
guys, even back then, and this is Andy can remember, because me and Andy were like their roadies for a little bit, you know, like we were like little kids,
roadies,
like,
puppy dogs, however you whatever you want to say.
Yeah, like we were, Vital, we're like these guys look professional, and back then, dude, they had a vision, and they had their shit together, and they wanted to look good, and
Hold on, I got another person that looks good. He's going to come in here. I got two good-looking dudes. I don't say that normally, but here we go. We got Derek from Churchburn, and we got Tom from Phlegm.
Dude.
He was in Phlegm.
The burn.
Yo, you're just talking about these motherfuckers, right? These fucking gems.
Derek, what's the date on Reduced to Ashes?
I believe it's 89. I'm gonna cross-reference that shit right now.
Yeah, it's like
90.
There's no date on it. I believe it's 90, but there's no date on it. I do believe it was 1990, but I'm not sure.
I got the Excruciating Pain demo in 1990, so maybe it was 89.
Look at the date on that. Maybe there's 1990.
89.
Excruciating Pain, 1990.
Yeah, we want to know when the first demo was, though. That's when we're trying to figure out. So I'm going to pose this question to you, Derek, and I'm going to pose it to you, Tom. Derek, you go first, though. Who do you think the first death metal band from Rhode Island was?
I'd say Vital Remains.
Vital Remains?
I mean, the way I see it is that Phlegm was like crazy grind. I don't even say it was like really grindcore yet. They were just fucking nuts. And the rehearsal tape was what landed to me. Like my favorite shit was the rehearsal tape to precursor Consumed by the Dead stuff, because that was like down-tuned, fucking sludgy with the fast breaks. And that just blew me away. Like when I heard that fucking guitar and just Andy's drumming and like Fleet's vocals were like, whoa. And I think that was like the slow killer grind and death. But Vital, as far as like pure death metal, I think they were the first.
Cool. All right, let's go to the echo chamber. Blow me. What do you call it? Your thing is echoing a lot. Who do you think? I know you might feel a little impartial, but who do you think the first death metal band was from Rhode Island, Tom?
Death metal? Yeah, because Derek kind of hit it on the head. We were more a noise band for 2 years, starting back in like 87, and then I joined in 88, and then like Close Hanger came out in 89, something like that. But that Close Hanger started to go like to metalish, but before that we were total noise. And Vital didn't get together until somewhere on 89, because he actually Tony tried doing a band with Jeff called Testicle Death before that.
Yeah, he was a thrash band called Equinox too.
I got a question. Does Testicle Death have a demo?
No, they just wanted to play the Monsters of Shit festival, so they made up a band just to play that day. If there were no songs, yes.
Hey, you remember Tony was also in that thrash band Equinox too, right?
Yeah. With Doug Azevedo and
Derek Thomas.
But that was thrash. But actually, I would say that one of the first, even before them, was Bert's band Mechanical with that kid Graham batting. But they were more like a voivod kind of, so they were also thrash, but heading towards the death sound. So I'd say they might have been the first heavy band in Rhode Island, that is. And then, but they always kind of stayed to the thrash, and not commercial in any way, but didn't want to go super scary, spooky, or anything like that. They wanted to make money. So, and not in a bad way. They just were trying to get that good, good sound and, like a Voivod type band or Creator.
And they made so much money that Bert never played a show ever, right? Besides that show. Monsters of Shit.
That dude was an amazing illustrator too, like Bert Cabana. That dude would draw the fucking goriest, most killer shit. What I remember at the time.
Where your tattoo? It is somewhere.
Yeah, he was like one of the earlier guys that drew everyone's shit. Before Keith, this kid Keith Owen, when he started drawing a lot of people's covers. But Bert was the OG.
Let's see that Bert tattoo, Tom.
What's that?
Let's see the Bert tattoo.
Here's one of them.
Yeah, that's fucking primitive. Great.
It turns into a maggot coming out the other end.
All right.
I can show you this one too if you want.
Oh yeah, there it is. That's fucking killer. Held up great.
Everybody thought Tom was going to pull his junk out, right?
Nah.
He's like, I'll show you this one.
Oh, I got the button fly jeans.
Button fly. Damn, I haven't seen that since 1990 also.
Fucking primitive, dude. Fucking old school primitive.
Awesome, brother. Sometimes you gotta unbuckle your pants when you drink all those beers,
No. It's when you get this old, your nuts hang really low, and zippers are dangerous. So button flies for low-hanging nuts.
I feel you. I'm in shorts all the time, so I get it.
Basketball shorts.
So, hey, that special guest can't make it, but I want to tell Andy and Tom who it was because you get a kick out of it.
Can I guess?
Fucking Sal from Splatteria lives in Providence.
Yeah.
And he just moved here last spring, and he's fucking awesome, dude. Like he's like a contractor. He fixed up my ceilings, and I talk to him all the time, and he's really into shit. And so I wanted to bring him on so he could see you guys. Because he told me all the stories that, the Phlegm tour down there and shit, and this shit I heard back then was fucking nuts. So I figured it'd be cool that you saw him and said what's up, but he couldn't make it, so he wanted to see what's up to everybody. Fucking,
that's cool.
Be in touch soon.
What is he laying in an alley, high on a bunch of edibles? Can't make it.
That dude's quit drinking. He quit drinking and he's got his shit together, man. He's like a contractor and he's fucking working all over the city. And he's going out. He's going out with this girl who used to go out with Josh Martin for a long time. Late
from AC
fame.
Yeah, rest in peace, Josh.
Yeah. And so she couldn't have found a better fit to go out with after that dude passed, because he's definitely the next level of that type of motherfucker, Right. So I'm happy for them,
Rest in peace, the escalator death.
Man.
Gene Simmons' best friend.
Dude,
that's right. You mess with Gene, you get the stairs.
What Josh Martin did at fucking Vets Memorial Auditorium when Gene Simmons played. Did you ever fucking catch it?
Yeah, I saw that.
Personally escorted him out the door.
dude,
Gene
amazing.
Simmons pressed up on him. So,
Amazing shit. Like, he definitely carried the fucking torch fucking of Seth in some ways, I think, you know.
Well, he called Gene Simmons out in front of a bunch of friggin', you know,
well,
people.
Dude, he just
It made it seem
wanted
like
to
he
hear
was going to play.
songs, and they kept talking, and the tickets were like 200 and change just to get in the place. So he's like, you know, drunk or whatever, you know, having a good time, and he wants to like hear fucking the classics or whatever. And some fucking nerd is on stage presenting the key to the city or whatever, and they're just talking for like half an hour. And he just was like, dude, I just want to hear some songs. I mean, it was totally relevant, you know? Yeah.
Get off my escalator.
I think it's funny when you see the one picture of Gene Simmons just right like 2 feet away from him, like right in his face. You know, I would love to be fly on the wall.
Yeah.
See what he was saying right there, you know?
I love the man.
Killer shit, dude.
Sal keeping up with his no-shows.
Yeah, dude, he's really doing good. Francisco, he's really doing good, man. I'll back that. He's doing right. He's doing fine. Yeah, I talked to him on the way over, on the way home from work, and you know, he really wanted to come on. So someday, you know what I mean?
I don't have his info, but I could send him an invite. He could still come on.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge, man. You know, fucking been around for a long time. Like, I guess us old motherfuckers.
Now he's a Rhode Island homie, like the rest of you guys.
Yeah,
if you're all still in Rhode Island. But I heard Ray might not be in Rhode Island, huh?
Ray's in Rhode Island?
I'm in Rhode Island.
He's an asshole.
Ray's in Rhode Island. Okay.
Nah, he's back, motherfucker.
Back to Pawtucket, man.
He's in the motherland, dude. He's back in the motherland.
Yeah, it's cool how you guys talk about different areas of Rhode Island, and I had this just to look at it. I was wondering like how far people had to come sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's fucking.
That's where I live, all in that red area.
If you go to the green area, that's like far for people.
Yeah, like that's a lot of travel right there.
Yeah, like going down to the south part, that's like a big fucking problem.
Like if I gotta go to that green area, dude, I gotta pack a lunch for the day.
A lot of travel, 1 hour. I've been in Rhode Island. It ain't big. You can drive through it and blink 3 times. Anyway, so yeah, I brought some other music. Earlier we played that which is rare, a live soundboard of the Procreation.
Sick.
Yeah, that was from a show that I went to with Incantation, basically. I remember driving up there and with this guy, Dirty Dave, and Jim Rowe.
The Headrot Procreation Phlegm Incantation?
Yeah.
That's right.
I remember Dave. Wasn't he on the tour with us?
No, that was a different Dave. Jim had a friend, Dave, too. He was he would hang out at Incantation practices and stuff, and then sometimes if we had to go to like Ohio or something, he would get in the car or he would drive or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
he was one of Jim's South Plainfield peoples, you know. What is this, geography class? Yep, that's right.
For now.
Well, we want to know because just like they have that Swedish death metal book, right? Like people need to know, like, okay, you know, Rhode Island.
If there was a Rhode Island death metal book, it'd be more like a pamphlet.
Yeah, it'd be a handout.
Yeah, it'd be like a wet napkin.
The Hare Krishna card.
Dude,
I forgot mine.
Pamphlet.
Yeah.
So Andy, we didn't talk about your band, so I'm assuming you guys were thrash. I'm gonna throw this up on the screen, and then maybe you could tell people about this because I don't think too many people know about this stuff.
No, you're right. Not many people did. That was the first band I was in when I went to high school. So I played guitar going into high school, and I realized it took talent to play guitar, so I stopped playing guitar, and then I realized it took talent to play drums, and I still suck at them. But I ended up playing there because there were no drummers in school. So I ended up playing with Dave Catano, who's Sasquatch in the Sickabillies, he's done well in like the rockabilly scene. But that was our first demo. We're a thrash band, and that was right around when I met Ray, and we started hanging out and starting to meet other people. Then Phlegm came along, so that was my first band when I just started playing drums.
So did that demo make any rounds? Like, did you pass that? Like, did you make like 30
No,
copies, 10 copies, no copies?
I don't know, because I played drums for about maybe not even a year before we recorded it, and right after we finished recording it, I left and joined Phlegm. That's why inside the cassette it says Andrew Jones and not Andy, because they were kind of getting back at me because I left the band. But yeah, I don't know what happened to it. And right after that, they ended up changing the name to Pathetic Enmity, not the. They took the name of the demo and made it their band.
Right?
Huh?
What they changed it to? Altered Minds?
Yeah, I think at first it was Pathetic Enmity, then they went to Altered Minds.
Yeah, that's right.
That's crazy. I think we were hanging out like every day back then, Andy.
Yeah, I remember driving. It was great when you came around because I was the young kid till you came around. There I am driving you back and forth. You know,
dude, crazy young, man. I think I was like 13, dude. Like that.
Yeah, you were like when we were, because when we were like 16, 17, you were like 13, 14.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy.
When I messaged you about this, I was like, shit, what's Derek's last name? Because I know he has Little Derek, and I know you don't go by Little Derek anymore. And then there was
Mo Peep.
Yeah, there's all sorts of names.
Little Peep. Yeah.
I just have to search all the Dereks and go, fuck, which one is he?
So I don't know what show this is.
Names, but Skinny Ray is held up.
Yeah, I don't know which show this is, but I mean, this will give an example of how young Derek was back in the day.
Yeah, dude. And that was like a couple of years into the band. Like,
I know.
You know, that was like
you could fit like 3 people in those pants.
Crazy. I can fit like 4 people, Tom. That's like, you know, like, it was so crazy because at that time, Roy, like, I don't even know how I could afford to buy a fucking demo. You know, I ended up doing drugs, you know, like to buy demos in 7 inches, like, because we didn't make fucking money. You know what I mean? Like, if we made money, it went towards equipment or like making tapes or whatever. You know,
right?
So,
people made money in death metal? No way. Really?
We didn't buy demos. We traded for them or we stole them.
You know, well, you know. I mean, I bought at the time. You know, it's $3. You could put it in an envelope and fucking wrap it in a bunch of paper and send it overseas and like fucking, you know, maybe 3 to 4 weeks you'd get something back, you know.
You're right though too, because I was wondering where the hell did I get money to mail to foreign countries, but it was like $2. It was like $3 for a demo and $3 for postage. You know,
I was like
$25 for postage.
I was like selling hits of acid to 9th graders for death metal demos. It was crazy, man. Crazy.
I'd write the band and be like, "Hey, where's my demo, man? I ordered that thing like 5 weeks ago. Fuck." And
it's like we only made 2 demos. I got it, and the other band member. Sorry. But Phlegm, on the other hand, Phlegm had a little firepower behind them because you had Fleet Printing.
Yeah.
So like basically, I'm sure everywhere you went in the city, maybe
Speaking of
Providence, was either Phlegm stickers or, you know, like the demo cover obviously being printed at Fleet Printing. And so I mean, Phlegm had a lot of promotion as far as like, you know, I don't know if Jim used to do all the show flyers at Fleet Printing and everything like that.
As soon as we'd sneak in there at night, after like going to the living room to a club or a bar, and then just print stuff and try and bring chicks back there and break into the other buildings that were inside the where Fleet Printing was. There was like a really cool guy on the next level up who made like remote control toys like way back in the day, obviously the 80s. Now they're, you know, they look like garbage, but they were cool back then. So we'd break into his place and play with toys all night while we were fucked up.
So, also, with that Fleet Printing, when you guys were making flyers there or whatever, you weren't doing it with photocopy machines, right? You were doing it with
Yep, old school cut and paste.
No, I mean like the way it was printed. Was he using like a?
Yeah, we're using plates.
Plates, yeah, like a printing machine.
We fake plates, yep.
Like an A.B. Dick printing machine.
And many times his dad would come in and find weed on the light table because he'd just have a few crumbs left. and and then Jim would get fired, and then a week later he'd be back, and then we would also print acid there, and we'd just spray hairspray on it like Aquanet and sell it to the hippies at the living room at Max Creek shows, and we made a lot of money that way. And Jim also got busted that way. Him and Drew at the Burger King down the road, and they got busted for trying to sell a fake control substance or something like that.
Gotcha. And how much was a hit of acid back then?
What's that? Like we did for like I think we sold a sheet for 100 and a hit for 2.
Yeah.
Wow. $2
for a piece of paper. Well, it's a piece of paper, you know. We didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that was when the guys came back thinking they were really high.
It's like, can I get the rest of that sheet? Let me get 8 more hits.
For you. $2. This guy's got him a fire. I got it for 2.
I sold the real shit, though. I sold the real shit. And I remember going to the church house and going to see Carcass, and it was the nauseating North American white tour T-shirt, the white one with the Symphonies cover. And I mean, like at that time, dude, like that fucking cover was the most iconic fucking gory thing out. Like there wasn't anything topping that at that fucking time, you know.
Still hasn't.
You know, and so like we were all fucking dropping acid in the back of like Namco in the woods, and like my shirt's on, and like these dudes are just like this fucking shirt, and we look at it for like 2 hours and find like a new body part or a fucking something in there. What's that? Like, and it was insane at that young. Like that's probably why I just fucked up, you know.
Deranged.
They're just doing crazy shit at a fucking young age, you know.
The derangement. So I have something I played some Procreation from back in the day. Got something else though. A little hidden gem here. Same gig. Remastered just about 20 minutes before we started. Check this out. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
How did that sound, brother?
Yeah.
That was you playing on that.
Yeah.
Danny, or was that Kenny?
That was Kenny. That was Kenny. I think that was at his peak in the band. Like he was really on top of his game at that time, you know. But we practiced like fucking 5 nights a week, dude. Like it was a lifestyle. I take weeks off of school to fucking stay in this sick house fucking Mike Brown owned at the time and just learn how to do this music every day until I got it right, you know? And we would demo stuff all the time on a 4-track. It was like an old reel-to-reel And we would just demo all our material all the time. If we had new material, we'd demo it. And that was around that time when we were really just kind of sinking on, really getting it. We were really starting to get it at that time.
So were you playing bass or were you still playing an accordion? Because I saw your mom made some comments about your small fingers.
I fucking wish I knew how to play accordion. That's what drugs do to people. Like, my hands were too small to play guitar. This music teacher and fucking told me this when I was in like 6th grade or something.
Okay.
So I said, I'll do whatever it takes. I just want to learn how to play. So he's like, well, what you got to do is you got to come take accordion lessons. And their fingers acclimated to playing an instrument. And that's total bullshit, but I bought it, because I didn't know any better. So, dude, I got to school and I fucking jammed out killer shit and learned like theory. And I don't know any of it now. Well, I mean, I know a little bit now, but I mean, I learned how to play music by ear, nothing else.
Did you go and play like any like Scottish festivals or anything?
No, like basically I did it, and then like I got a bass, and that just I just instantly just went to learning how to play heavy metal.
Right.
Just right away. I'm like, fuck this teacher. Like I'm just gonna sit home and I'm gonna just learn it, just figure it out.
So this is something we should talk about. Heavy metal, okay? Then we're gonna go around in the circle. Start with Tom and then end with Andy. You guys probably know my shit. Tom, who were the first like bands that you got down with as far as like that you thought were like the hardest rock, the heaviest thrash? And like death metal, like because obviously everybody had that progression here, right?
Well, it was like when I was 7, like Kiss was on 2020 in 1977, and that was cool because they were Kiss, and I was 7 years old. And then I thought my dad had like Alice Cooper, "Welcome to My Nightmare," and some Clash records, so I kind of started liking that European raw sound. And then Alice Cooper's theatrics were cool. He was more hippie rock at that time. It was before he got the Kane Hodder guy there playing guitar. But then, that huge dude with the freaking guitar gun or whatever the fuck that thing was. Then, Maiden and Priest. But then like Merciful Fate started popping up and Venom, and then that wasn't heavy enough, so it went to other stuff. But then I would start going to shows about 85, 84, 85, and kids were wearing like Motorhead shit, punk rock kids, and I was like, well, let me listen to this stuff. And so I started listening to hardcore and like the Meatmen, and then I started getting into creepy stuff like the Mentors were my kind of jam. That's why I think like Punch and Stench was like probably my all-time favorite band, because just their lyrics were sick like the Mentors, and the music was, brutal. So I think that was kind of my progression.
Yeah, that was your progression.
I hopped into a lot of hardcore, and Murphy's Law and
crossover stuff. Yeah, the DRIs and stuff.
Screwdriver, the scary Nazi stuff. I was into some of that stuff for a while, and DRI was awesome. Like 87 when that they started kicking around. But yeah, and then it
like
just
blast beats,
slower and doomier or faster and faster. And then I just felt I heard it all. like around 1992, 93, I was like, all right, there's nothing new. I'm done.
All right, shut the radio off. Shut the tape player. So what about you, Derek? What was your progression?
Well, I have a brother who's 9 years older than me. We have different fathers, but so I was kind of born into killer shit. Like when I was a baby, the first thing I would see was a Gene Simmons cutout in like my fucking bedroom, when I was like a toddler, So I was lucky. Like I had a family that listened to a lot of killer shit, like Sabbath and Judas Priest. Like I got a lot of that right away. There was just no I didn't have to find it; it was right there.
All right, that's cool.
But as far as, and I think that Ray and maybe Andy, but more Ray than anyone here, maybe will relate to this one. But I mean, the big change really started like when there was a couple of kids in my neighborhood, and this kid had a fucking Venom like painted leather jacket. You know, he's passed away. This kid, Mike Higgins. Mike Browning actually got to be friends with him before he passed, and wrote a lot of shit about him when he passed away. He was really into the scene, like he was a diehard death metal motherfucker, you know. But he had this fucking Venom hand painted, you know, fucking jacket, and I was already listening to Sodom a lot, and Pleasure to Kill. I just found that. But then we all went to the roller skating rink on Saturday night, dude. Like it was metal night.
Star Wheels.
And yes, Star Wheels. And this was like the thing to do, man. Like
they would play heavy metal there at the skating rink while people
dude,
skated.
Like 1987, so around 1988, whatever.
We packed a trunk up of baseball bats and go to Star Wheels.
Dude, and like so everybody
you could skate backwards to like Terrible Certainty or something.
Everyone would headbang in a circle because they wouldn't play anything heavier than like Megadeth itself. Like that was the heaviest. Yeah, because everyone was playing Metallica, you know. It was like kind of taboo, you know.
Right.
But we were too cool to skate, Roy.
We would.
No, I figured that. We you guys didn't want to pay the $2 to rent the skates.
We were like little kids in there smoking lightning chicks.
Yeah, dude, we played like Super Mario Brothers on the arcade, like ate hot dogs or whatever. Fuck.
Yeah, played Paperboy. What about you, Ray?
Dude, so I see Skinny Ray, and like I think it was like Rick and Boz and like a bunch of you motherfuckers, right? Yeah. And everyone's got the fucking painted jackets, you know, and. So it's just like you find your tribe, you know. You're like, whoa, there's somebody else that knows this, you know, because there was nothing then, you know. You had to really find this music, you know. I mean, there was a radio show in Rhode Island called The Metal Cage, hosted by Jim Collins, on Sunday nights from 12 to 3 a.m. And this guy got everything. He, you know, all the Eric stuff promo when it was coming out, and he was playing it. So we would hear this stuff and be like, I'd record every fucking thing I heard that I was just blown away by it, you know? And that's pretty much where it went, you know? We found out, like that dude who had the Metal Cage, he worked at a record store in Cranston called Sam's Records and Tapes. And he would stock all the imports, all the fucking Peaceville stuff, the earache stuff. You know, that was like the base, you know? And we would get these tapes. I mean, I bought this fucking Death tape. Fucking one of the only things I still have when I was a kid. I bought this at Sam's Records and Tapes in like 1988 or 1989. Sometime around
the inside. There's nothing in there, right? It's empty?
No, it's empty.
Like mine? Yeah.
John Hand.
It's empty.
No John Hand back then, bro. You couldn't tell that John Hand was in... I was going to say was in the band, but was not in the band. There wasn't even a goddamn mention of Chuck on there.
You know, that's what, you know, every week, dude, we'd all go like have our mothers drop us off at the mall and run over to the fucking death metal store and buy up whatever the fuck we could get, you know, and every week, dude, it was a new tape or whatever, you know, and it just kind of snowballed from there. You know?
Sam's. That's the name of the place, huh?
Sam's Records and Tapes. No longer there. But it was a classic fucking place, man. I'll never forget it.
All right, let's go to Ray though. Where was your progression? How did you come up through like the whole rock to metal to whatever, death metal?
It was kind of like Derek, brother, you know, was introduced to Kiss, Creed, Smiley Crew, you know, all that stuff. You know, so stuff there. He'd always play me Sabbath. You know, the normal stuff. And stuff when I started progressing into the Metallica with you know, Ride the Lightning and you know, some of the Megadeth stuff. And for me, though, the changing point for me, where this is what I wanted to do, this is the music that I wanted to play, was there was another, you know, store in Rhode Island. It was called RB's Records and Tapes on Middle Spring Ave. And I remember I walked in there and I bought 2 cassettes, man. I bought the Scream Bloody Gore and Napalm Deaths from Enslavement to Obliteration. And I remember those things just blew my fucking mind. And I was like, that's what I want to play. That's what I want to fucking play. That's whoever said.
So what about like a rock and all that stuff? What were you into like when you were younger, little lad?
I like Billy Joel, shit like that. I mean,
that's some Long Island shit.
It was a lot of Kiss, you know, back then. Because again, Kiss was like, you know, that was the band for young kids, and like my brother was older than me, or you know, he was into a lot of Blue Oyster Cult too and shit like that.
Killer.
So I like Billy.
Hey Tom, your mic, everything we're talking, like I have to shut your mic off because I can hear us talking through like your speakers or whatever. So just turn down your volume on your speakers a little bit or something, or put headphones on.
It's a big room.
Oh yeah. Just turn it down a little bit, maybe. You'll still be able to hear us, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. So Andy Fuckface Jones, what was the progression of Mr. Face?
Mr. Face. I grew up in a house that had a lot of music around, but it was Neil Diamond, it was Waylon Jennings, it was Frankie and Teicher, Billy Joel. You know, it wasn't anything heavy. I had an older brother who was into Bryan Adams and, you know, like the popular shit. But I did Catholic school for 9 years, and I think it was about 7th or 8th grade. My buddy Ashley Jamio let me borrow Kiss Destroyer. So I brought it home, and I remember listening to it, going, "Holy shit! I hope my parents don't know I'm listening to this." Right. So it was about that time I'd go to Video Hut and pick, and I'd always get the Iron Maiden Live After Death and Venom 7 Gates of Hell VHS, and I'd take it home and I'd bring it in my room and watch it. And I wasn't really totally into it, but it was to me it was offensive. It was, you know, being in Catholic school, I'm watching this going, yeah, fuck Catholic school, you know. So
Venom, hell yeah.
You know, then I was into Wasp. I was into, you know, a lot of shit that I'd be embarrassed to, you know, admit right now. You know, remember I had the Motley Crue half shirt.
Well, yeah, you admit that you wore a half shirt.
Yeah,
so.
I guess I did. And you know, so it wasn't until I hit high school when, you know, I got away from, you know, the Catholic school people who really weren't into, you know, back then it was all satanic. No matter what it was, Wasp was satanic, Slayer satanic. You can't. It wasn't around. I hit high school. I'm like, holy shit. So it wasn't till then when I first got punched in the gut with it was like Nuclear Assault, and then Creator, and then Sodom. So it got faster and heavier. And like Derek said, with Metal Cage, I remember I could barely get it on my radio, and I would just kind of, you know, move the rabbit ears on my radio to try to get the station. I would just sit there listening to it, going, "Holy, what is this shit?" And that's when, like, you know, I started hearing Morbid Angel and Napalm Death. But it was so outlandish and it was so different from anything else I've ever heard. I wanted to do that, you know.
Right. Ah,
so
cool.
That's where I went.
That's cool. I didn't know he was playing. I figured that the guy was playing thrash back in the day, but did he progress from thrash to death metal too? Metal Cage?
Oh, Jim had it all, dude.
You play everything. Yeah.
I mean, when he first started, was he playing death metal or was he playing thrash?
When he first started, I don't know. I was still listening to Bible hymns.
Listening to him, he was already playing, like, you know, he was the first, you know, person. Well, that was the first I ever heard, like, Morbid Angel, and like the show was I think in like '89, it was like strictly like death metal, and then he'd have some like really hard thrash band from Germany and stuff. But it was always like really harder shit, you know?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like back then, like
Venom, probably right around when what was the inverted album? Possessed by Venom? It was
Possessed with the black and white.
That was, I think, 87, somewhere around there.
Seven Churches?
Uh-huh.
Seven Churches?
No, he's talking about
No,
Possessed.
Venom had an album
Venom's
called
Possessed.
And that was, I think, around 86 or 87. That's when he started changing over to you know, he had been playing like Merciful Fate and Venom, and then slightly after that, he'd start to bring in like you're saying, German stuff like Tankard and
Wow, that guy was
Yeah,
on that
yeah,
long.
yeah.
I didn't realize that he had
Yeah.
been around that long.
Amazing,
That's cool.
dude.
Roy, man, his show, man, introduced a lot of people in this area to a lot of shit that we wouldn't have had access to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like real underground shit, man. You know, like great stuff. You know.
You know what's so weird? It's like you just want to go up to people like that and just shake their hand and be like, "Thank you, you gave me a career."
Yeah, well, that dude goes to shows still. He still goes to shows now. He still like supports bands, and you wouldn't know it because he doesn't, look the part. But who gives a fuck? He's probably more death metal than 80% of the kids at the show. It's awesome. But he's
Yeah, I saw him
around.
at Mayhem 2 or 3 years ago. Whenever Mayhem played Providence, that was the last time I saw him, I think.
Yeah, killer dude, man. See, he's still posting playlists and shit too. I think he does.
Yeah, that's how I knew about them. The playlists. I got like maybe in 1990 or so. I got some flyers from him.
Right
and then I guess I wrote to him. I don't know why, because I just wrote to everybody back then. And then, he wrote back and he sent a bunch of playlists of his radio station. And then I believe once I put a tape out or I put my address out in the underground, then he sent me a playlist again. And he said, like, you want to send, some demos up for me to play on here or something,
Well, dude, as far as I'm concerned, dude, like you should own the rights to Death Metal Podcast because you turned a lot of people onto a lot of shit at that time. I mean, I started getting involved with a lot of mail order because of your like, yo, you want to see this fucking sick shit? Write this guy, I think you had me write Mika from Impaled Nazarene because it was like that, time where death metal was getting a little generic and these darker, blacker bands were coming around and no one was really throwing around the black metal name. No. I mean, we were just saying like Black Death or whatever, but like it wasn't really a thing yet. Again,
Black Metal was only a Venom album back then.
Yeah,
basically.
dude. Like,
yeah.
it was saying,
I remember fucking, in the 90s, like, again, it was Jim. He was starting to bring the black metal because, by 91 already, some of the death metals are starting to get fucking crappy. And Jim was starting to bring in some of the black metal from, over into Sam's. And I remember that's when, I got some of the Mayhem shit. And, I was familiar with Mayhem and Dark Throne at that time. Yep. When they put out, I remember getting the second album there. And being like, yo, what the fuck is this shit, man? Dude, this is some crazy stuff. Dude, and then, just like anything else, that black metal stuff, as soon as they started entering like the keyboards and the fucking capes and all that shit, it just got lame.
Yeah. What about what I didn't ask is so it's like we heard the name Sam's dropped. Like, where did you guys buy your records from?
Luke's Records at first, then R&B's, and then Sam's when I finally get a license.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for me, I went to Luke's later on, but I couldn't afford LPs yet, and tapes was like the ticket,
Right.
So, but there was R&B's. I actually went there a bunch, and then there was another place called Listen Here in East Providence.
Yeah, that was like more. I mean, they had some obscure stuff, but even Listen Here they were like more.
Yeah. Those tracks and In Your Ear on Thayer Street had stuff.
Yeah. You can get your Destruction and you can get your Sodoms and your Creators there.
Yeah, I mean, you could get some cool shit there, but they started really turning into like more of a like that whole crust scene and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But R&B's and Sam's were always stocked with like really good shit. Luke's Records Exchange was, always had some cool stuff, but Luke's was where you went when you wanted to go to a show at the living room and sell your tapes so you could get fucking beer money.
Yeah,
right. And, money to get into the show.
You'd buy the tapes for like $12 and you sell them back to them for $25.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted a Trooper back patch for your corduroy vest.
Yeah.
All right, we got another guest here joining Death Metal Podcast. Here he is, the man of the hour.
Hey,
Santa.
Asshole.
What's up, you motherfuckers?
What's happening, man?
What's up, brother?
So,
This is Gordon or Skip from Headrot.
That's asshole.
Both.
Yeah,
Asshole.
an asshole as well. How's it going, asshole?
What's going on?
What's up, man?
Lisa, we have a fuck face, asshole, blow me, and even someone that burns churches here. So a
I'm
little bit of
surprised we
everything.
toned it down so much.
Yeah, we always tone it down here, bro. You know me. So yeah, I was just going around asking guys about like their old, like, you know, where they started with the you know, rock through thrash. A lot of people talk about Metal Cage. And then I was just asking about like the record stores, you know what I mean? Like, where did you shop for your stuff?
I went to Sam's. Once I found that place, man, and met Jim, you know, I would go in and actually the first album I bought, like death metal, was probably the Grind Crusher compilation.
Fuck yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
And then
that was a big one.
All
that
that
was a big
stuff.
one. That was a big one for me and my friends too. Me and my friend Venner. Oh shit, he's got it on record too. I remember like they had the cassette of it.
Was that the second one, Derek?
Listen to that, you know?
That was the second press.
Yeah,
that's
I have the original one. That was like a pink cover.
Yeah, it's the early press. I think it was the second one. Yeah, it's a good shape.
Yeah, I remember the cassette of it, and it had the Terrorizer, it had the Morbid Angel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had the Godflesh on there.
Repulsion.
And the first thing I had actually seen as an earache thing, I think, was for me was I saw a cassette of Godflesh. You know what I mean? Because in New York City too, it's pretty competitive. You know what I mean? So like, if there was some imports coming in to a store like Bleecker Bob's, you just had to be right there and right on the spot for that shit. If not, you weren't getting it, basically. There was a lot of other record stores, but for some reason, that particular store carried the earache imports.
Yeah.
Before
earache, drive there just to go record shopping.
Yeah,
Remember
before earache was a U.S. thing, you know?
You guys probably remember that other big compilation that was out, the Only Death Is Real.
Right.
It was a Nuclear Blast one, I think.
Yeah, Nuclear Blast.
Oh yeah, yep.
Only Death Is Real. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Death is just the beginning. Yeah.
Oh,
That
that's
had,
what it is.
that was a really good one.
Great.
Dude, that fucking compilation was insane too. I mean, like every song on it was insane.
Yeah, those are
I
pretty.
had some Peel Sessions discs too of Napalm Death and Tiamat. And you remember that one?
The Peel Sessions
was good.
Tiamat Peel Sessions. I never heard of that
Dude,
one, but
this is
I
one
know
of
the
my
Napalm one.
favorites right here, dude. Remember this one?
Oh yeah, Vile Vibes. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Holy
What I
shit.
found,
The Autopsy on there and Electro Hippies.
dude, fucking Internal Torment 2, the unreleased track.
Yeah, Paradise Lost.
Dude, amazing shit.
I still have that Paradise Lost vinyl with the two singles on it with the alternate versions that they had. It's locked in my closet somewhere. The last time I played it was probably in the early 90s.
The 2-songer with it's like Paradise Lost in dub, where they just drop out the. Yeah,
exactly.
that's a killer one. I love that one.
Yeah.
The production on that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That
Paradise
came
Lost.
out after Lost Paradise as like a single thing where they remixed or. Yeah, and they like
before
literally.
Gothic.
Yeah, before Gothic, a little before Gothic. What do you guys think about Gothic? What you think?
Sounds like a Nike commercial.
Yeah, it fell flat.
It was weird, right?
Second album was a gay.
Yeah.
After Lost Paradise, it fell to shit.
Dude, so you had the Carcass third album there, the Descanting, whatever the fuck it means, and Blessed Are the Sick. And there were promos, and all those records just seemed to come out at the same time. I mean, my memory's not the best.
And they all sucked.
When I threw that shit in, I was expecting like this epic fucking thing, you know? And I was like, what the fuck?
Yep.
You know?
Napalm too, because third album was Barney.
Yeah. I was bummed at the time.
Corruption.
Bummed, man.
And then the on the Sick, and then the third the third EP that had come out at around the same time was that which was totally killer. Because I remember playing the Blessed Are the Sick going, wow, this is lame. And then the same thing with the Gothic thing, like, wow, all right, what the fuck? But the one that didn't let me down was the Autopsy one, the Retribution for the Dead.
Yeah, Retribution for the Dead.
The fourth song, yeah. In the Grip of Winter.
Like, that's my favorite Autopsy shit, personally.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I feel you on that one.
I fucking
I'll
love
stick with
that.
Seventh Survival.
That
Them
really
all came out at the same time, and it was like, how did these guys get it wrong? But these guys just keep it real, you know.
You know what?
They still do.
Autopsy, if you really look, yeah, they kept it real the entire time. They were gone
Whole
for a
time.
while, came back, and then they kept it real. Like they still keep it real.
Yeah, they're
They-
great.
Yeah,
They
dude.
put-
They really don't have a bad album. Where like you know a lot of bands you go through and like by the time they're hitting album number like a 10 or something, you know, it's like
Yeah, they don't have
I
like
don't
one.
know.
They don't have like one song or two songs that are good. The whole album's
The
freaking
whole
good.
album's good.
Yeah, and then if you see them live too, they could play those new songs, which they don't play too many of them. I noticed, but like they could play those new songs, and you're just as into them as you would be like one of their old songs, and not even know it basically. Because if you're
Even the
jaded,
Access-
if you're a little
Access was
jaded,
awesome, too.
yeah, if you're a little jaded, you're probably going to be like, all right, Severed Survival, Mental Funeral, maybe you made it to Shit Fun, and then after that, you know, like. It's just like, but they were still ripping out these albums, you know what I mean? When they came back, and it's like, I remember them playing some new song, and I was like, God damn, this is like this should have been on Shit Fun, basically. You know what I mean?
Shit Fun was fucking, it's such an underrated record. Like, it's like fucking edgy and Gigi Allen-esque and just
Yeah.
fucking good. Some of the riffs are some of the best riffs on that.
Well,
I
that,
fucking-
that first Abscess album, Urine Junkies,
Yeah.
great. It came with a piss stick in it. You know, the diabetes piss stick. When you open up the CD, it fell out. I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
How many times you use it, Tommy?
Did you use it?
Reusable. And it tastes great.
yeah. Lickety, a lick'em stick. Yeah.
kind of like Miller Lite, you know?
Yeah.
So
I like Fiend
before
for
you
Blood.
came
That was one
on-
of my favorites.
Before you came on too, Skip, I played a old Headrot song. So when you check out the replay, you could check it out.
I'll see if I
So-
heard it before.
Yeah, I doubt it. Check this out. Somebody was asking. Okay, just somebody wanted to say "Shit Fun" was a classic. The cover, especially, yeah. All right, so Francisco wanted to know what were the venues in Rhode Island.
Let's go around the room and name one. See how long we go.
Living room first.
I'll say living room, but the bubble only.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
bubble.
Then,
I saw
baby.
I saw the mentors at the last living room. So that was
What's a
close
bubble?
to-
What's a
yeah,
bubble? What is that? Just one section?
I've only
of
been
it?
to the
It
bubble.
was a
The
window.
bubble
That was a bubble.
Was the club that
big
was
window.
one of the locations the living room had. It was the second location. The first one I'm too young for. But
Okay.
the second one had a big bubble. It was like a plastic fucking bubble.
like a fishbowl window.
Yeah, like a fishbowl or a gerbil window.
And you like
Well,
people,
yeah, probably the gerbil, Tommy. That's why.
Yeah, and you can get in there and kick really easy.
yeah, it was amazing.
You leave
can
it
slide
into the
right in.
window.
All right,
Oh, so you can go into the gerbil circle
Oh,
and
yeah.
just go around?
Well,
Yeah.
it
Tom would turn into a gerbil.
was
it was just a big window, Roy. You could like sit in it, because it came around and you could just sit in there and you kind of sit and lean back into the bubble and it looked over the parking lot.
Oh, interesting. Oh, so
How
it's
many,
like
how many
high up,
times did
too.
times did Tom pass out in the tunnel underneath?
there's a lot of pass out fucking spots.
There's a lot
All
of
right,
pass
so
out
we have the
stories
living
buried.
room. That was one. So what are some of the other
All right.
venues?
Derek, pick one.
You had the living room, which we probably all started going to, and then in between Babyhead, you had Church House for a little bit.
Yep.
House served as
No. Next was Babyhead, then Church House. When did Hell change names? When did it
that was later on.
That was
man.
Was it
way
later on? And don't forget
What about,
Confettis. Autopsy
Oh,
played
yeah,
Confettis.
Confettis.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
about wasn't there a place Campus or something?
Yeah,
Campus
Campus
Club.
Club.
Yeah.
Campus Club,
Morbid
yep.
Angel there.
Yep, that's where we saw Morbid Angel doing their hair for
Yep.
a half an hour.
Well, that's your hey Tom.
And Bolt
don't forget,
Thrower.
Tom, that's all we went to see Driving and Crying that time too.
Yeah, dude,
Andy, you were there, right? Remember?
yeah, I think they opened up a Morbid Angel.
Yeah.
And Sepultura played at Rocky Point once.
Yep.
Yeah.
With they opened up for Ministry, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some kind of tour like that.
Well, the Beneath the Remains tour was the living room, and that was the most fucking sickest, like, crowd and violent fucking show I'd ever seen in my life. I don't think
What about you guys? Let's with these clubs, right? Let's not talk about Babyhead yet, but with these clubs, some of you guys got to play these clubs and open up for some of the bands. Like Tom, you played and opened up for Morbid Angel.
Yeah. We opened up for first kind of show we did was we opened up for Death and Dark Angel on the Ultimate Revenge tour. Then second show was DBC. You remember them from Canada? Dead Brain Cells.
Yeah.
I think it was them and maybe Gangrene. I forget who else was on that show.
Wasn't that Equinox on that Tony's band?
I don't know. Did they play that? You could put a gun to my head and offer me $1 million. I couldn't tell you yes or no.
Beer was Tom's main concern
April
back then.
of 89 or something like that.
And then what about you, Derek? You played something.
I never got the chance to play the living room, but I got my fucking penance at Club Babyhead.
Gotcha.
That was where it was like once a month at least.
At fucking 13 years old, this kid's playing with fucking Pungent Stench, you know, all them bands.
Yeah,
Autopsy.
He played with Phlegm.
Getting free hot dogs.
I got the one for Phlegm once.
Ladies' night.
Freddie was on tour with Anal Punk in Germany, and I was like, they were like, "Yo, Derek, man, you gonna do this?" And I was like, "Oh, whoa!" Like it was a big deal, you know. And I had to learn the songs in like a week or something. But I was with these guys every day, so it didn't matter. We hung out. We all hung out all the fucking time. You know, we were pretty tight. You know.
Yeah, where was the hangout for
Mike Brown's house?
Mike Brown's. Gotcha.
Me and Derek would stay there like for weeks on end, and we would just play music all day long.
I remember Mike Brown's house from Ray said that we went to there was an after party during that day show for Incantation, Headrot, Procreation, and Phlegm. And I remember going to that party afterwards, and I remember Mike Brown's like a barn or whatever it was in the back, and then it had like a
tall garage with
a loft on it, right, where you could go up like some stairs. All right, Skip's got something here. Let's see.
Yeah, brother.
There you go. Hell yeah.
It's
So
my
you
house.
guys practice? You practice? You practiced in there too, right? Headrot practice in
No,
there?
we practiced in Mike's basement, and we partied like motherfuckers up in that loft.
Yeah, man.
People would jump out that window right there onto
Sometimes
cars.
I get away from Mike.
I was going to ask, like, is that the window for the loft thing? Yeah.
Yep.
Is that someone's van there?
If you would, that's a Headrot. That's the old Headrot bus.
Dude, handcrafted Headrot bus right there. Dude.
If you were stupid enough to park your car underneath that window, we're jumping on it.
Oh man. Yeah, I guess if there's no pool there, you guys could just whatever, you know, jump out the window, jump off someone's car real quick. You know, it's like half the fall.
I mean, look at this little kid right here.
Dude, I don't even have any of those photos, man. Look at that long sleeve. I wish I had that. Probably fit.
Shirt, general surgery.
I still have my long sleeve.
You can get those on the NAMBLA website. Those pictures.
Yo,
What, these
your base looks mad big compared to you, bro.
Yeah, that's because it was. Dude.
I think Andy had mentioned that offhand. And
dude, I played it good, man. I mean, I was no fucking slouch, bro. Like, I learned fucking how to play.
You had to get like a second version of yourself to play.
Well, no,
like,
Mike Brown knew all the hard riffs. Like he knew the fucking Born for Burning riff there, the Bathory one. I mean, back then, you know, it was play. He knew like there's this Excel song and it's a really hard riff, and he knew it like so good he could play it, and he would just be like, "You gotta learn this riff," and he would just fucking play it a million times until I learned it.
I gotta ask Skip a question about Headrot. I think this is before you were in Headrot too, Derek.
No,
Skip,
Derek's been in from the beginning.
Oh, he's from the beginning?
Yeah, I was in before Mike and Kenny, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I could ask you both this question. Skip, the other day you showed some kind of demo that never came out from Headrot or whatever.
Oh, shit.
Show me that artwork or whatever. What was that? Like, what were those songs that made it on the early stuff, or was that
It was like the early stuff we wrote. We had like 5 songs when we met Mike. And after we met Mike, we wrote 5 more, and we recorded the first I Go Up Your Guts. But we had going into the studio, it was like in Connecticut, and these people were like Steely Dan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll record you guys." And we went in there with a posse, and booze and drugs, and we just got fucked the fuck up, and we recorded this demo that just was like awful. I mean, the music was awesome, but we were completely fucked up when we recorded this thing, and they could not get the mix down, and we were just like, oh, well, that was a waste of time.
Well, hey, Skip, if I believe correctly, when we got to know Mike and Kenny and got them involved, or we got involved with them, that was from the Death Devastation tour, that show, right? The Self-Destruct show?
Yeah. And we went to Mike's house for a party, and he had asked me if I wanted to come play drums in Self-Destruct. And I was like, well, how about you come play in Headrot? You and Kenny come join Headrot. And that's how we started with Mike.
Yeah.
So that demo was what, 1990?
It came out in 91, but that first thing that I showed you, that was like...
It didn't come out.
No.
That got scrapped.
No, that got thrown right in the garbage. I don't even know if there's like a physical copy anywhere.
Was that in 1990 or 91, that one? Early 91? Or...
That was in 90. Because we recorded in the winter of 91.
Was Chris
late
on that,
90 or early 91.
No, Jody and Chris were gone by then. Chris might have been. I don't think Chris was on that, Skip, was he?
That's what special guest that we're talking about. We got Jody coming on.
Is he coming on?
Yeah.
Where did you find him?
Jody who?
He's in California playing video games.
Guys,
that's true.
That's actually what he does for a living now.
He's with Ronnie Dio playing some video games.
Kids books.
So then you got Headrot 2. So this would be, you always considered, I guess, this to be your first demo, though, in a weird way?
That's the first demo, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we made those covers at the Kinko's off of Thayer Street. Remember, Skippy?
It was when laser printers first came out. And I was like, damn, we can make full color covers. This is bad.
Was that, who did the artwork on that one?
9 o'clock because it was 24 hours.
Keith Ellenwood drew the cover, and I made the logo in like high school detention or something.
Okay.
Right. So did that end? What's going on, everybody? So that was a Rhode Island, the Rhode Island death metal part 1 for Death Metal Podcast. There was an episode we recorded like years ago. No, not a year, like a year and a half ago, maybe. And then for the end of the video, there was something vile went down. Nothing spectacular, just regular. Just something YouTube didn't like. So I have to, you got to chop it up and then, put it up, So what's going on, everybody? So that was the Rhode Island death metal episode, part 1, which a couple weeks ago, and these last 2-3 episodes, I've been letting people know that death metal podcast is not going to be like a 4 or 5 hour adventure every Saturday. I'm going to try to split it up into multiple episodes that are shorter, and that way, it's a little bit more consumable than something you have to go back for like hours on end. So there was definitely some cool info there. Exactly. That's exactly why I wanted to show this, because it felt like a lost episode, like a little treasure chest with some information about like Phlegm, the forming of Headrot, early death metal bands from Rhode Island, like a lot of stuff about Vital Remains, and then Phlegm, and Procreation with that crazy logo, and then at the early times of Headrot, like Derek being in the band when he was like 13 years old, and so you had Skip from Headrot, the drummer there, and then Tom from Phlegm, the guitar player from way back. Andy and Tom were like way back. Like Phlegm did reform at some point after Fleet left the institution, and they played a series of shows with like some different members, and then Fred played in Phlegm, but now Fred doing Burt Bacharach. PM, not sure if you're familiar with the band Sledgehammer Genocide. So yeah, man, praise the children. So I saw this, I wanted to talk to respect to Rhode Island. I always be glad Hideous Mangulus got on one of Fleet's Festive Freaks in '91 and meet a lot of those maniacs, because AC and Phlegm used to play Bell Vernon in Pennsylvania. Technically, it was Shitscum. I met Seth, and he got us in contact with Fleet. So that's coming from Sam from Hideous Mangulus. So yeah, trying to run different things on Death Metal Podcasts and different days, because just doing one day or doing just Saturday or whatever, because we got into like a cycle where it was like Thursday, Francisco, Friday, Witching Hour, Saturday was Death Metal Podcast. But like, can't go for that many hours on end. It's just takes too much out of me. Like, I could talk for a long time, obviously, and I want to interview more bands too. So like, I figure, you know what, between doing this, I'll show some old stuff that really is unshown, and then set up interviews with bands to do interviews for Death Metal Podcast. That would be, interesting to just get new information out there, I mean, I still want to play music too, but at some point it's like, I'm not a DJ, you know what I mean? Like, paid DJ gig. I just want to, it's cool to spread new music on Death Metal Podcast YouTube thing, but I want information to be spread more, I think, so I'm trying to have more like information. So having the Phlegm, Headrot, Procreation, Churchburn interview thing is like more informational, you know what I mean? And also learning about the roots of the early Rhode Island scene, because it was really not really like too much known about it, right? I mean, I knew about it because I lived semi-close to it. Great concept, appreciate it. And then, so being that I would drive around as a roadie of Incantation, like I would end up like in Rhode Island because it was one of the closest markets to Northern Jersey or New York or South Jersey, you know what I mean? Maryland. So it was like kind of like, Rhode Island had like a scene. There was like Jim Fleet from Phlegm was like setting things up like constantly. So like literally like there'd be all kinds of cool shows, So yeah, anyway, in the future, Vital Remains and Grief, for sure. You know, like, I mean, I want to maybe even touch upon some bands that aren't on this live stream or talk about them, you know, because Rhode Island, obviously very close to Massachusetts too, so you do have a little intermingling going on there, you know. And later in this live stream, you'll see that there is some intermingling with somebody from Massachusetts in there. But I feel like the Massachusetts guy did like a large influence on like all the other guys. I will always remember sitting in a car with you, Roy, and Seth from AC, listening to Hideous Mangulus Unearthing Grandma's Grave EP in front of Club Babyhead. Good times in the summer of 1991. Cool, man. Yeah, I remember that too. That was super sick. I remember liking Thrash Records, Hideous Mangulus 7-inch too. So listening to like some new Hideous Mangulus was pretty sick. Thanks for showing the interview. Enjoying the new throughout the week DMP. Exactly. A little pop-up-y too, you know. I mean, I wanted to, you know, I want the show to be a little pop-up-y. I mean, if you're subscribed to it, you know to watch it or listen or whatever you do with it. And then there's people that obviously listen to it or watch it on the playback instead of watching it live. YouTube's, you know, how many people are live YouTubing, you know, for hours, especially like nobody, you know what I mean? Because it's difficult to continue talking for hours on end about metal. Not completely difficult, but I mean, like, there just was not like, you run out of subjects after X amount of time. So at least try to come with more interviews, you know what I mean? And that way it's more interesting, you know? So why don't we bring in a little bit of music from the Rare Phlegm demo. All right, so Death Metal Podcast. This was the Rhode Island Death Metal episode that was like it deceased quick. So basically, we showed the first 2 hours or hour and a half of the first of a like 7-hour interview with like Headrot, members of Phlegm, including the guitarist Tom, and then Skinny Ray was in there, and Procreation, Rancid Christ, and then Andy Jones was my co-host, and who else was on there? Skip from Headrot, and Derek from Churchburn, and ex Headrot. So this was part one though of like a long ass Rhode Island interview, and then maybe after like we do part 2 and part 3, which are equally as long, and then we have also someone that lives in Massachusetts joining the later during the live stream. This was all previously recorded like a year and a half ago, but there was like a lot of factoids right in there, like a lot of knowledge, you know. So like we're gonna show, maybe we'll show like a extra, like an additional like part 4 where we bring in like the bands and what they're doing now, because it's later on now, and this, you know, obviously this original one was pretty like historical as far as like just talking about like the Rhode Island death metal scene, and you know, like how they were talking about a lot of like how the bands formed, like, hey, you and you join, you know, Skinny, and then join Headrot and this and that, you know. So like I said, on future episodes for Death Metal Podcasts, we're just trying to go on a little earlier, not earlier in the day, but like a little different, you know what I mean? Like I want to go on at different times. Number one, it could be earlier, could be in the morning. I want to go on at like less time. Like instead of like 6-hour videos on Saturday nights of just playing endless death metal, you know, I mean, even though we are talking on there and the chat's lit every time, like I'm going to start narrowing the episodes down to like 2 hours or something, you know, just so a little bit more consumable for people. So I'm sure with this episode, you guys consumed a little bit of Rhode Island death metal. So tune in. I don't know. I'll probably do a regular death metal podcast playing music next, but after that, tune in and we'll have like another episode like of the Rhode Island one that picks up from right where it left off right there, which I didn't even know because I didn't watch it. I didn't even notice it ended. I just sat down and it ended right when I sat down, so that was cool. And then maybe we'll like get members of some of the bands in the chat. There's even one there now, the bass player from Phlegm. So this is concluding tonight's death metal podcast, coming from New York in Rhode Island. So I appreciate everybody that tunes in. I'll check you guys out. Hang loose. Later.